Hello. Happy Monday. It's actually not happy Monday. It's freezing cold Monday. It's been such a lovely weekend, and then this happens. Ugh. Put my thermal vest back on. Thank you to everyone that has subscribed. Please do keep subscribing for all the new viewers. It makes a massive difference in getting our voice heard. It really does. And I love the comments. I love reading them, and I'm replying to it where I can. But thank you. It's awesome. Labour and Reform have been dominating the headlines, and it's really interesting. And my take on it is, I think, probably a bit left field. But I'm loving how Reform are playing this out publicly. Now, I know that Nigel Farage has said what we know about the last party, the Tories, is that they didn't like, people don't like the infighting. They don't like all of this. Well, you're absolutely right. They don't. But what they like less is cloak and dagger. And I think there's nothing more patronising and arrogant than a government pretending it's not going on, because it makes the assumption that we're all stupid. And I'm learning that far from stupid, there's a lot of people that would be better placed to be in government. There's a lot of very sensible chat going on in the real world. And it's so patronising to say, cover it up. We know that in Labour at the minute, there is a growing, you've seen it all over the papers about the backbenchers' revolt over the welfare cuts, but we also know that there is a growing disquiet over the VAT on education bill, and we know that a lot of Labour MPs are internally vocal but externally silent. Now that's really irritating. It's irritating because they've lost moral ground, they've lost moral standing. If there's a growing majority of you that think something is wrong, but you're not prepared to stand up for it, then why are you in Parliament? Why are you in government? Why are you an MP? Because being an MP, my understanding of it is that you are representing the voting public in your constituency. And the voting public are really loudly saying, we don't like this. And yet the MPs are hearing it but not doing anything with it, because if they do something with it, then Keir Starmer's going to take the whip off them. So if they take the whip off them, then they've lost a job, which I get, but welcome to the real world. We're all losing jobs left, right and centre, mainly because of Rachel Reeves. So it's really difficult to swallow that. And yet, on the other hand, you've got Reform, who are definitely infighting. Rupert Owen doesn't think Nigel Farage's up for the job. Richard Tice is he sort of evaded the question on Question Time, but he's sort of saying you need to speak to Rupert. But he's slightly Switzerland in all of this. And, some media outlets are saying we've got to stop the fighting. Reform are going to go to the dogs if they keep carrying on. And I'm like, no. Keep going, guys. Because there's an honesty in that. In Rupert Lowe's statement, now we don't know what's gone on, and that is something, if there's going to be a legal case and if it is being investigated, then of course there's going to have to be restrictions on what we do and don't know, and that's a fair comment. That's just life, isn't it? But let's look at the emotions and the feelings. Rupert Lowe feels very vulnerable. He feels hurt. He feels slighted. He feels like he's been stabbed in the back, and it looks like he has. Now, I really admire anyone that will put their head above the parapet and go, this isn't okay, when they're highlighting bad behaviour. Let's see what comes out in the wash. But it's also saying, this is us. It's like, when you're at school, and there's always that mum who will never, ever say, my child has been an absolute pain in the arse. They'll always say, oh, they are so sweet, they are so good, and they've done so much, la, 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 la. And you're like, really? Come on. Surely they've flicked you the bird at some point, or they've answered back. But no. They present the perfect picture. It's just not true. It's not real life. And it can't be real life in politics. It's too emotional. It's too evocative. Of course, people are going to argue. And I'm liking this being on the public stage, because ultimately it affects us, doesn't it? And I have a respect for people who will say, I got that wrong. I didn't do that really well. I could have done this. I should have done that. I have a real respect for people who learn from their mistakes. And I don't know whether it's because, I often do make mistakes, so I'm so used to going, sorry, that was awkward, that was me. But I have no problem in apologising at all. Um, and I really feel that what we're seeing being played out now is a real congruence, a real honesty in a political party. And we haven't seen that in forever. So whilst Labour are sort of like being the bully boys, banging their chests and silencing anyone who dare oppose them in party, Reform are just, it's all there. They're wearing it on their sleeves. Perhaps it's the neurodivergent in me. I understand that. I wear everything on my sleeve. And I say, yeah, thank you for being that honest with us. Thank you for not pretending that it's a bed of roses in there. Thank you for showing us that you argue as well. And thank you for showing us that this matters. And it matters so much that you are prepared to argue to get the right result for us, the voting public. And Keir Starmer's approach is you will do it my way or the highway. And it's typical of him, isn't it? He's so blinkered and it is really in his head, it really is the only option. But I think that's grossly disrespectful. And it's bully boy tactics, but it's set to fail because as we're seeing, people will only put up with so much. People will only pushed in a corner so much before they fight back. And in Labour, it is happening. There is the big revolt. And what Keir's done is think that he's bigger than the party. And he's not. He really isn't bigger than the party. And, it's like Henry VIII's court. There'll be hushed conversations. The downfall has started. Whereas Rupert Owen and Nigel Farage, they're playing theirs out on the stage. We don't need to fill the gaps in. We don't need to go, I wonder what he said to him. It's there. They've shared it on the socials. And yeah, it's up there with EastEnders, isn't it? God, I haven't watched that in years, although I did watch the one with the Vic when all the old characters were in it, Patsy Palmer and everyone. It was just fantastic. Oh, somebody's ringing me and it's coming up on my computer. Who knew that was a thing? Anyway, I'm digressing. Please do subscribe if you think this is remotely interesting. Thank you for all of the comments. I have loved them. And let's see what plays out with Richard Tice, Rupert Owen and Nigel Farage. And let's see what plays out on the Labour front and how many are about to get the whip taken off them. I bet, well, he can't, can he? Because he'll have no one left. Let's see.